We can share this one. I didn't mean to put that one up there. Sorry. My bad. Thank you. Thank you all. Welcome to the intergovernmental meeting of April 2nd at 4 p.m. Calling the meeting to order. Councilmember Morris Lopez, will you please do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May I have a roll call, please?
Superintendent Lamonto. Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Here.
Councilmember Resendez.
Here.
Mayor Stevens.
Here.
Supervisor Velasquez.
Here.
Supervisor Zinger.
Here.
Chair Jordan.
Here. Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the affidavit of posting?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Supervisor Velasquez, seconded by Councilmember Morris Lopez. May I have a second? Oh, I had a second, sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Did you aye?
I think we all did.
Aye, we all ayed. Sorry. Do you want to do roll call instead?
Yes, please.
Okay, do a roll call.
Supervisor Lamonto. Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Yes.
Councilmember Resendez.
Yes.
Mayor Stevens.
Yes.
Supervisor Velasquez. Supervisor Zinger. And Chair Jordan.
Yes. I will now open it to public comment. These are items that are not on the agenda.
No speaker cards received, Madam Mayor, Madam Chair, and seeing no hands raised on Zoom.
Thank you. Regular meeting agenda, selection of a chair. Are there any nominations for chair?
Madam Chair,
Yep.
I'll move to nominate Supervisor Dom Zanger as chair.
Thank you. Do I have any others?
I nominate Mayor Leslie Jordan.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, my mic's not working, but really quickly before we, if I may, before we vote.
Sure.
Do we have any information of who the vice chair was, or do we not have that?
I can look it up, but I
Yeah,
can look it up, but I don't have that in my records.
so in the past, it was standard, you had the chair, vice chair would take over as chair, and it'd be rotated amongst the agencies, so the next agency would become vice chair, so on.
Yeah.
And
So
I
if-
mean, we need to kind of know what's going on.
Well, if the vice chair isn't here
What-
and it wasn't Crystal, it
Right.
was not Crystal.
It was Crystal.
So,
Was it City Hall's chair? Was it the county?
If I can, Madam Chair.
sure.
Aside from that, I think it's whatever's in the bylaws. And if it doesn't state that in the bylaws, then I think we should just move forward with motions.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have two, are there any other nominations for chair? No? Okay, can we do a roll call, please, on Supervisor Zanger?
Did we get the second? Did the nominations?
Right, we have two nominations on the
Do
floor.
you have any seconds?
So
I'll
we're gonna vote-
second
we're gonna
for Mr.
vote
Zager.
For across the table on
Somebody has to second it first and then we can vote. So did you second?
We have two nominations out. We're gonna do each one on, if you want Supervisor Zanger, say yes. If you don't, say
Okay.
no. And we're gonna go that way.
Let's just.
I
go-
appreciate what you're
No, I
saying
get it,
though.
but let's just go back
Okay.
to how the rules work. So when a nomination happens, then a second has to happen. If that doesn't go through, then a second motion can be made. So
I didn't call for a motion. I called for a nomination. Can we please do a,
Madam Chair,
sure.
thank you. Can we just check in with legal on that question? What the chair is suggesting is unfamiliar to me. I've never heard of that. So do we have legal to just check in on what the rules are?
We don't have legal.
Okay,
okay, well, I'm going to second the nomination from Mr. Resendez.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay,
Okay, calling the question. Councilmember Morris Lopez for Chair Zanger.
We had two nominations?
No, we're calling.
we're calling first for Supervisor Zanger.
Yes.
And depending on that, then what that is, then we'll go to the next one.
Okay. No.
Councilmember Resendez,
yes.
Mayor Stevens,
Yes.
Supervisor Velasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Zanger, and Chair Jordan.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Now-
Okay, so you want me
now
to switch?
I don't care where we do it from. This is fine.
I'm fine if I don't have to
Sorry,
vote. The
vote.
only thing is
Fine.
having this mic if you're not functioning.
Okay.
We-
Well, I'm
maybe we can
confused.
share.
We can share, yeah. We don't have enough mics to
That's
go
fine.
around.
That's fine with me.
Well,
Okay.
this is what I found in the bylaws.
Okay, great. So, I guess we'll move to vice chair now.
Yes.
Are there is there a motion for vice chair?
Mr. Chair. I'll move to have Mayor Stevens as the vice chair for the government committee, intergovernmental committee.
And I'd like to nominate Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Okay.
Great. You roll call on that for the first nomination.
Yes, Mayor Jordan,
For the
This is
first,
for the
this is
vice
for
chair of,
Stevens.
yes,
Stevens.
yes.
Thank you. No,
Superintendent Lamonto is absent, Councilmember Morris Lopez,
No.
Councilmember Resendez,
Yes,
Mayor Stevens,
Yes.
Supervisor Velasquez, and Chair Zanger.
Yes.
Motion carried.
perfect. And you're okay with staying there too, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Great.
Carry on.
Next we have the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from December 4th?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of December 4th.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Great. We need a roll call vote on that?
Yes, please.
Great.
Mayor Jordan,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Yes.
Councilmember Resendez, Mayor Stevens,
Yes.
Supervisor Velasquez, and Chair Zanger.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Great. Next we have homeless encampments.
So if I may, so this is, it's been a recurring agenda item for as long as I've been on it. I think Supervisor Kosmicki brought it way back when you were on it originally. So it's been a recurring item. I don't know if anybody has anything to talk about it or if there's any.
I do, or Mr. Resendez depends on.
thank you. Yeah, no, I was just, do we have a report from staff? Because I know that the county and the city are trying to work together to address the homeless encampments in by the river. So if we have a report for staff, great. If not, maybe we can table this item until the next meeting, bring a report back, or one of my colleagues would like to chime in. I'm perfectly okay with that.
Yeah, we can give an update. So the county just recently voted to hire a contractor to start cleaning up the river encampments on the north side of 4th Street, and then again on the county side as you go south. So in the past, the city would work with the county because a lot of the encampments are on the city side of it. And there's also encampments, I think, coming through the coming through
There you go.
really close to the microphone into San Juan. So I think it's going to be important for everybody to go back and look at what we're all doing, because if we start doing cleanups on one side, there's a tendency to just move the encampments south or north in the past. So here's a good opportunity for us to get started on this, and then try to get those that are living in the rivers to come into the shelter and get the help they need and the services they need.
May I? Okay. So thank you for that, Supervisor Velasquez. And I would reiterate that I would like a more formal report, and here's why. So I would like a little more detailed information, because I've had this conversation with you, Supervisor Velasquez, in the past around how it's a bit confusing, the lines of where the county starts and ends, and where the city starts and ends. Closer to the microphone. Thank you. So I would like to, like, just so that we get that really clear among members as well as for our public, right? So they're really clear. So I want people to fully understand that this is not just simply a matter of, can somebody just clean this up and let's get on with it? Because it's a little more confusing, because the lines and stuff, and we have to work closely together, and then we clean it up, and then we have to maintain it. Then there's some enforcement. And so there's all these other little things that I just want to make sure that we have a full appreciation, we as a board as well as our public. I personally know those trails very, very well, because I walk them almost every day. And for me, this is a really important issue, but I just want to make sure that our public fully appreciates that it's not as simple as just clean the garbage up and let's move on. It's a little more complicated. So I would appreciate a staff report with some information about city, county boundaries, some of the issues with maintaining, some of the issues with enforcement, as well as I would like to, if at all possible, hear a little bit more about the contract that you have with the contractor, what it costs, what are they doing, what it entails, all of that, because I think that will help the city of Hollister as we move forward, because I think that that's an important resource for both city and the two cities, and for the county. And it's just not utilized the way that it should be because of the issues that we have there. So we need to take advantage of that beautiful property that we have, but we just simply can't take advantage of it because of the encampments. So that's what I would like. I'd like to see something a little bit more like a more formal report on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I agree with my colleagues up here. Lately, there's also been a lot of legislative changes. I think it's important for us to get an updated report on what those changes look like. And we do have City Manager Dave Marioni on the line. He's prepared to talk about the item. I'm just not sure, as far as the logistics go, if what the contract, and maybe the city manager can answer this, if this is an item that can wait until next month's intergovernmental meeting, or if this is something that we need to bring back to our prospective jurisdictions before then. But he's ready to talk about it and to give us some more information about it, if that's okay.
Mr. Chair, the sheriff and the chief of police have also been here to discuss it. And last year, Sean Tenenbaum had some comments because the high school is directly affected by it as well. So I'm all for bringing it back next month and inviting the sheriff, the chief of police, and hopefully the high school can come too.
Chair, permission to speak?
Yeah.
Are we going in an order, or do we just kind of chime in?
Just let me know. I'm pretty laissez-faire about
Okay,
this whole thing.
so
Just
I agree with Councilmember Resendez that the legislature has changed, and I did a little bit of research before the meeting today. And we know that this is all coming down from the Supreme Court to the cities, and our governor, I think it was like in the fall, stated that the cities have the permission to go ahead and deal with encampments. But if you read it, it's very confusing, because at one time, the cities had to provide storage for 90 days for the possessions of the individuals that were, moved from their encampments. So then there was talk of that. And then I did a little bit of research today and I saw that now, and you must provide services. Well, now it's saying you don't have to provide services. So I think we need very good clarification on how we move forward with this. San Juan does have one encampment. I don't know of any more. I kind of think that, personally, when it's one individual, this is my personal opinion, you look at what you have as far as ordinance on the books. Is this an encroachment? Is it on private property? Is it trespassing? I know that Hollister has a bigger issue. I feel because we have single digit, maybe two, I don't know if there's another one out there, that common sense should prevail. And it would be a lot easier to provide services for one or two individuals. So, we're kind of dragging our feet on this single encampment in our town. I don't know if Mayor Jordan agrees with that, but it's, it would seem a lot easier to provide services and housing for one individual versus 300 or something in Hollister. So, but I think we need clarification on the laws. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, understood. And I'm fine if we want to bring in the chief of police, the sheriff, get all the information. But I will say that just speaking from the county, we're moving forward with cleanup soon, regardless of the end of how this meeting turns out. We've approved the contractor, we have approved the special deputy for that area. And so we're going to be moving forward with the cleanup process. So the sooner the better, I think, as far as we can get everyone on board, because like Supervisor Velasquez said, we're going to clean up, up to a line, and then stuff's going to move to the other side of the line, and we're going to have an issue there. So we really do want to get mainly the city of Hollister, because, the one in Cam here in San Juan, there's, I think, somewhere between 100 to 160, I think is what the sheriff said, as far as encampments in the river. So we do want to get, the city on board, hopefully as soon as possible, so that we can really coordinate and make this work. Otherwise, we worry that we are going to be kind of spinning our wheels and not get anywhere. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Get really close. So in the past, we've done this together, the county and the city, and we've learned from experiences. And I want to make sure it's clear, we're not doing this now just because of the Supreme Court ruling. This is a conversation that's been had for years, and we've done it in the past. So the city of Hollister's portion is just south of 4th Street Bridge to Apricot. That's the city's portion. And the county's is south of that and north of the bridge until you come to San Juan Bautista. I don't know where that line is over here. But it's an issue that obviously you do clean up one area and they flow to the next. And that's what we found out in the past, is as the city of Hollister cleaned up their portion of the river for their cities, people just packed their bags, went across the bridge, and there was a whole new setup within a month. So we're going to keep working on this. The county's allocated about a little more than 200,000 for the cleanup over a 3-year period. I can tell you personally that I believe the city of Hollister has more expertise in this to do the cleanup. And, we do need to talk, and we can't do it today, but maybe the city of Hollister is willing to do the services for a fee. And again, I know they do have the expertise on it. As far as storage in the past, what would happen is the items were stored, as you point out, for about 90 days. And that's what would happen again here, to make sure we don't want the public or anybody to think this is a attempt to just bulldoze the place out, throw away everybody's belongings, and not provide the services. We have the services in the county. It's a partnership of all of us, again, the homeless shelter, to get them the attention and the services they need. So it's a very important part of what we're trying to do here.
And then I think we have Deputy or Acting CEO Henny Ring and both Dave Marioni on. I think they wish to speak. So I don't know, whoever wants to, take it away. One of you see the hands up.
I'll go first. Good afternoon, committee. Interim CAO Henny Ring with San Benito County. So just to kind of give you a little bit more information, and we certainly can bring a more formal report to the committee at a later date. There is a meeting scheduled tomorrow with the city. I'm meeting with City Manager Marioni tomorrow, as well as I believe our sheriff and the chief of police, and to go over some of the details of what the county's intent is. We are looking at the third week of April of starting for the actual cleanup. As Chair Zanger has mentioned, is that we do have a contract, as Supervisor Velasquez said, we have a contract with the contractor to help with the cleanup. But we certainly don't want to do this without the city being aware of it. I don't think the intent is to clean up and then, people shift over to the city side. We want to make sure that the city is brought in and understands and has ability to assist in any way or anything in that sense. So we're meeting with them tomorrow so we can go over some more of the logistics piece of this. So just wanted to give the committee that heads up. And the county's also working on some internal things, such as the shelter, increasing maybe some of the bed size so we could, if we have to house more people. We do have a container also for their belongings, so we're working on that internal process as well. So we are moving forward with that piece. Thank you.
Chair Zanger, if I
Manager.
may, just to kind of piggyback on what Ms. Ring had just went over. One, I also have, they're just not promoted as panelists. I do have our Chief of Police and Public Works Director that are watching and available for comment. So yes, we are meeting tomorrow. We have said all along throughout this process, as it's come to intergovernmental, that we are, ready to coordinate and partner. We do have a lot of the tools in place. I know that there is an interest in looking at the city partnering long term on this, and we'll have those initial discussions. I know that there is a desire through the contract to go towards the end of April, and so we're going to be meeting tomorrow with the county, and then looking to mobilize our team to kind of do the work in tandem. So it's all one unified effort. So like we said before, we're happy to partner and are looking forward to the discussion tomorrow. So this is certainly moving, and I think both Henny and I are available for questions. And then I do, as I said, have the Chief of Police and our Public Works Director on the line as well.
I have a question. I understand that this is between the county and the city tomorrow, but since we're intergovernmental, this is, we're here for the purpose of helping all of the entities. Is San Juan, would we be a consideration since with this process? I know that we're a city, but we're also part of the county. How would that work for us?
Is that a question for the city manager, or I guess?
So can I make a suggestion related to that? Because I was thinking not along the same lines, but my question was more around, I want to make sure, obviously I would love to see the county move forward with cleanup, because any steps forward is good. So let's just do that. The discussion around the services, I think there's a bunch of services that potentially are needed by the folks that live there. There's a number of them. It's not just the house itself. There's a bunch of other ones that maybe are county related, like substance abuse, counseling, there's mental health stuff. There could be an array of things, right? So there's that. But I think that ultimately what I want to make sure is that we have the same goals. What is it that we want to do? We want to clean this up, and then what do we want to do? Like when we move forward with that, ultimately, that's how I see, this is my concern for San Juan Bautista, is if we get our act together over there and we get it all cleaned up, guess where they're going to come to? So we want to make sure that does not happen, right? We want to prevent that, right? And if we don't act together, that's exactly what will happen. And we need to work together as a team, because we know it's just going to shift. And then you guys will do something about it, and then they'll come back to us. And so that's what we'll do. It'll just be musical chairs. So we want to be very humane, take care of all of our residents, including those that are unhoused, and also have some real clear goals about what we envision for that space, as well as how we partner on just generally issues for people who either lack or have limited housing in the entire county system. So I'd like to be able to include that in our discussion next time. And I think all of us should be thinking about that. What are the goals as it relates to not just the encampments along the river, but also just in general? What are our goals for that for that in terms of their economic potentials, or is it something related to like outdoor activity that we can incorporate for our, especially our young people? We want to make sure that the high school is part of this. We know that they've had some people trespassing and having some issues with that. And so we want to make sure that that does not happen. We want our kids to be safe. But we also, I mean, what I would love, because as I said, I'm there all the time, I would love to be able to see our kids being able to take advantage of this because it's a beautiful area to walk and you can't right now. It's just really, it's not safe and it's not clean. So I think we should just talk about what are the potentials there and what are our goals as we work towards cleaning up, maintaining the spaces, enforcing it, as well as partnering together so that we're not just shifting the problem over to another jurisdiction.
I can, Mr. Chair. And I agree. I think those are very valid points and very important points. I wanted to mention also that the county has allocated funding for an additional officer, sheriff to patrol the entire area, city, county, coming into along San Juan, I believe too. I think they found some other encampments close by. So that our sheriff will be handling the whole area to make sure it's being enforced throughout. But it's also important that as people are moving off the river, they are going to set up different sites within cities or different areas, and we have to follow up on that. And again, the goal is to make sure those that are in the encampments are getting the services they need. As you point out, the housing or different whatever we can do, so we have an answer to it and not just clean up and not worry about it again. We have to follow through. So I think you're making very good points.
Just gonna let CEO Ring speak again. She has her hand up. And then
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that I provide this information. We are also working with our behavioral health, our health and human services, public health. So they are part of this whole process with the cleanup. So they will be involved and will be involved going, in the future with whatever we end up doing for long term with the situation. So just wanted to provide that.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I was just going to suggest if we can get the city managers and the county CEO to reach out to San Juan Bautista city manager to see if they're available to attend the meeting, and if not, possibly the mayor or another council member so they have representation there. I think that would be the best thing to do since it seems like it's moving quickly here. And yeah, those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Mr. Chair. Has the grammar school been affected by San Juan? Oh, sorry. Microphone. Press the big button.
Are there children in these camps? Are there families? Are they largely single adults?
I can answer that since
Yeah.
I'm there like almost every day. I have on occasion seen children there. However, it's more the exception for sure. It's generally couples, groups of friends, or individuals. And the majority of them are men, generally middle-aged young men, and then there are some women. But I have on occasion seen children. It's very difficult, and have even talked to the families about their situation. Generally, it doesn't seem like they're there for a very long time, but on occasion there are children, but it's rare. But I am also worried. On occasion, I've seen some very young teenage looking girls. That worries me. And I've called it in a couple of times and had either sheriff or PD, because I wasn't sure where the lines were. So I called 911. They responded, because just to make sure that they weren't minors that were being in one way or another exploited. So that's another thing that we want to be concerned. However, overwhelmingly, they're men. Most of them are young, like young adult, middle-aged men, and some women, and occasionally children.
I ask that because, school districts, ours in particular, we do have someone who's in charge of our homeless students and have services that we can offer for them. And we try to find them too and identify which schools they're at. Sometimes that's difficult. But for example, in our Director of Student Services office, she has lots of containers of clothing, hygiene supplies, etc. So I'm imagining probably Hollister and probably San Benito school districts also have that available. And then my second question is, where is the encampment that's in San Juan Bautista? Because I'm not aware of that, being fairly new to the area.
Is it by the gas station over there? All right.
It's by the Valero?
It's right across from the apartments.
Okay. So,
Thank you. Any other thoughts? I mean, I definitely agree. I think that someone from San Juan should reach out and try to, I guess, have a presence at the meeting with the interim CAO and the city manager. I think it's a really good idea. I'd recommend that, of course. And then, okay, it looks like we have a hand raised, Mr. Frisetta.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Hey, John Frisetta, CBO over for San Benito High School District, and just wanted to note that yes, we are right adjacent to homeless encampment and have dealt with multiple instances of homeless coming onto our campus. I want to note that as of this fall, our count for homeless students was at over 147. Just on Hollister High School itself. And so obviously the categorization of homeless students is a little broader than living down below at the river. It could be any situation of having a home issue. But still, homelessness is a wide gamut, and somebody doesn't just start down at the river, they grow over time. So I just wanted to note that the San Benito High School District is happy to participate in any way we can, simply because of the large number of homeless teens that we service.
Thank you. All right. Any other thoughts from any of the committee members at the moment? Great. And I believe we need to go to public comment still on this, right? Can we do that?
Does anybody in chambers wish to make a public comment? If you can come up to the podium, please, and state your name for the record. Chair, seeing nobody come up to the podium, and seeing no hands raised on Zoom.
Great. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. And again, I'm not here as an educator. I'm here as as my city council position, but as an educator, I do know the County Office of Ed does also provide foster and homeless services to our youth. So we do have the same services as well. I'm not sure about HSD. Chair Rios, are you familiar with anything that you guys have?
I know that we do have people that are designated within the district to be the first calls to be made. And like the high school, we also have a certain number. I don't know how many homeless students are documented within the district.
Thank you. All right, that's it. Go ahead.
I just want to make sure that we're clear on what's happening for next meeting. So do we know who's providing the report? Do we know what questions? Is it clear what we are asking for the report from the report? All of that. Just want to make sure that when we come next month that everybody kind of knows what the next steps are.
To clarify too, I believe the next time we meet, we will have already started the cleanup effort, I think. So I think we would need to get an update, I guess, on how that's going for the week that it'll have been going at that point. So we would need that. And then I guess we have to iron out those details. Do we want to have chief of police, the sheriff? I mean, who do we, because I know this has been a standing item. I know you guys have heard from them before. I don't know if you want to follow another update from them, or we just want to hear from the interim CAO and the city manager to see how things are going. I don't know if any thoughts on who should be there.
If I can, I think if we can just keep the CEO and the city managers at the conversation, because I think everybody else can report to them either way, right?
That would be fine with me.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we'll
Well,
hopefully.
I'd
go
also
ahead.
just like I'd like a little bit of information that I asked around, like, so that we have maybe some images of where the boundaries are, so that just the public is really clear on what we're talking about when we're saying, once you guys clean it up, then they're
Yeah.
going to move south or they're going to move north, and it can be a problematic. I would like that. I also would like to hear a little bit about the legal side of it. So both council members on either side of me mentioned that, the laws and how we might want to consider how we use it to our benefit. So we can help also to recognize that they can be confusing, but also we can use it to our benefit. But I think a little bit of that might be good too. And then I want to make sure that we have time to have a real good discussion about what are our goals, because we've talked about the encampment itself. That's one piece of it, and then there's just the more broader issue of people who have they're either underhoused or they are homeless, and I think part of the student population that was in the data from the high school, it includes kids that are underhoused. They may be couch surfing, maybe they're moving from relative to relative. They're not literally sleeping on the street, but they're still technically considered homeless. But I think we want to understand maybe that a little bit. But so I think for now, I think focusing on the encampment is a good place to start. But I think in general, we want to keep in mind that there is a broader issue because, as somebody said, the people that live in the river, they didn't just start there. It was probably a process that maybe started when they were one of our high school students. And so 5 years from now, the people that reside on the street may be our high school students. So we just want to just have a general understanding that how we can prevent that, how we can support our residents so that we don't have as big a homeless issue as we have now.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'd like to have the sheriff and the chief of police attend to see how it is on the front lines and what they're doing and what they're cleaning up and how they're working together on all of this. And Enrique Areola, who will be working with the majority of these folks who are moved or transferred or whatever the appropriate term is.
Thank you. Okay, so then, yeah, I mean, I'm happy to invite the sheriff and the chief of police if they're available. They can give us an update on things, as well as Enrique if he is available. And as far as the interim CAO, whether she wants to do it or have Manny speak, I don't have a preference. Manny is kind of the point person on this issue from the county's perspective, so he's welcome to report out as well next time if that works. They can decide how they want to do that. So, and we'll make sure to include the information about the lines and the property boundaries and kind of give a general overview of the situation down there for everyone. Anything else that is missing? Great. Okay. I guess that's that then. Great. All right, next we have committee member reports. Any committee members have a report? Anyone want to start with anything? Great. Okay, no reports.
Future reports or?
Well, we have future agenda items next here on the little list.
All right. Well, I don't know if this is a subject I should report on because I'm part of COG. No, that would be COG, right? But I'm also a member of here.
That's a good question.
There's no.
Comes down to how can this committee work on something?
Well, yeah. Well, so I guess maybe we need to clarify because I've always kind of been a little bit confused and I'm reading the bylaws today, what exactly is our purpose? Because we can be talking about homeless encampments. We can, there's a lot of things we can talk about. And so specifically as a member on this committee, I'm not sure how I'm going to report what I did because it's all it's all kind of intertwined with everything else, right?
If I can, it would be under your committee member reports. You can report whatever you want under your committee member reports.
I guess I'm just gonna go for it. I'm on, I'm on COG. I'm the primary now, and I went with, our CEO, which is, Benito Abrams, and we went a couple weeks ago. We were invited to go, well, we're not invited. I'm actually selected to be part of the Central Coastal Committee that deals with COG. So it was 5 of us. There was SLO County, San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, Santa Cruz, Monterey, and San Benito. And the whole purpose of that trip was to go up to capital of Sacramento, and we met with our representatives and we pitched what our needs were for our jurisdictions, but we also came together and advocated for each other. But I basically spoke to the need to please amend VMT. So VMT stands for Vehicle Miles Traveled. And because we are a rural community primarily, we are not going to get the funding because we travel so many miles, our people do. So I said, this is not fair to us to measure us by that yardstick. You need to amend that so that we, you can really truthfully, adjust that. Otherwise, we're not going to be in the running for any funding to fix our roads. And so it was an interesting meeting. We were there all day from like 8 to about 4-ish. We met with Senator Laird, John Laird. We met with representatives from Speaker Rivas's office and some other representatives from the other counties. So it was very informative. They were very receptive. It was a good learning experience. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Any reports? Okay, great. Then we will move on to future agenda. Oh, yes. Oh, future agenda items. Go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was having a conversation with, I believe, the mayor and our city manager, and I would request that this committee bring back the bylaws to amend them so that we can meet quarterly rather than monthly. And we can get into all the details of that later on, but I'm just going to ask that the board consider that. So we would meet obviously for this next monthly meeting, but I'm requesting that the board brings back the bylaws to possibly amend them to have quarterly meetings for this committee rather than monthly. Thank you.
Great. Now, someone will have to help me out here just because I'm not used to the bylaws here. How do the future agenda items work? Do we take just a consensus on that? Okay, so is there consensus to bring that back to have that discussion?
Council members' proposal that we consider bringing it for discussion, but I don't think we should be hard and fast to have quarterly meetings. I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done. We can have an open discussion about time frame. Is it every other month? Is it even going to stick to this day, this time? Because I have a copy of the original bylaws that were approved when Supervisor Velasquez was the mayor back in
Mr. Chair, can I please?
I'm still talking, sorry. So
Mr. Chair, can I be
I'm-
recognized, please?
Hold on.
I'm still speaking. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Finish up.
So anyway, so the bylaws here, I mean, it was already changed from an original day and time to this Wednesday day and time. So I'm open for all that discussion to see what works for everybody, and we can bring our ideas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the point I was going to make is that, again, we can have that discussion at the appropriate time, but we're not agendized to have such a deep conversation or discussion about it. So I was just trying to bring the meeting back to the conversation. So at this time, I'm just asking for consideration to bring the item back for the next meeting for consideration, and then we can discuss everything at that time. That's my request. Thank you.
Understood. Yeah, you go ahead.
I would just ask the question, if we're bringing it back, are we bringing it back to discuss the change the bylaws at that meeting, so that otherwise it would be another meeting again before that happens? So make recommendations at the next meeting to amend the bylaws? Is that what
Well,
you're asking?
my position would be yes, obviously, right? But I think we're going to have to leave that up to the staff and maybe let them come back with 2 different options, potentially present them to the board and see which ones we adopt after we have a discussion in public about it, I would suggest.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, and just so that we're clear, because I think that if we agendize the bylaws and we're looking at the entire bylaws, so are we are we just agendizing the time and date? I mean, and the frequency of the meetings? Because I think we can have that discussion about that, or are we talking about the whole bylaw? Because obviously we want to make sure that we're prepared. If we're going to talk about the entire bylaws, and we want to be prepared if there's some other things that maybe we want to raise during that meeting. So I just want to, just for clarification.
I'm perfectly open to allowing that as an amendment. Yeah, I think it's all, if everybody wants to go back and take a look at the bylaws and bring some suggestions, then that's fine. My main request was just to change from monthly to quarterly meetings, but again, no, I'm perfectly okay with that.
So,
well.
so to clarify, we want to bring back the bylaws with the intention of looking at the time and the schedule, as well as potentially other things that come up in the bylaws that we can look at. So I'm fine with that. Is there any more comments about this?
I was just gonna say, a good example of is how we start the meeting. In the past, there was a rotation. We should make clear what that is in the bylaws, so there's always a rotation. It's never just one group controlling it.
Okay, so now is there consensus on this? Great, great. We'll bring that back for the next meeting then. Any other future agenda item requests?
So I want to bring something up as a potential one. I want to be able to have a discussion because I think this impacts city, county, and San Juan Bautista, City of Hollister County, San Juan Bautista. I want to use some of the time here to discuss the issues of local businesses closing, especially restaurants. And this may be, I think, a forum where we can do that because there may be the same types of problems that we are all addressing. We might be able to find solutions with each other. So this might be a place, because I had a really robust discussion with Mayor Jordan about some of the closing here in San Bautista, as well as some of the things that we're closing in Hollister. And obviously, when any business closes, it's not always good unless there's something that quickly comes back to replace it. So I just want to make sure that if this is the appropriate forum, that we have an opportunity to support each other as we're all grappling with small businesses, especially restaurants, and things like that closing, and how we can better support those businesses and prevent that from happening if at all possible.
Okay, and so would this be just basically a discussion with us, or would we expect something from staff, or just to get the ball rolling with us here?
I think just a quick discussion just to get the ball rolling might be okay. And then we can through that discussion, maybe some things will come to the surface where then we can give staff some clear direction if we need them to provide a report. But I think just in general, having a conversation about that and get that discussion started could really help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there consensus to bring that back? Great. We'll bring that back as well. Any other future agenda item requests? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on. Do we need a motion to adjourn? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Great. We're adjourned. Oh, we have to vote on the adjournment? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you. Okay, yeah.